Hello friends. In part 1 we had learned about continental drifts, lithospheric plates, types of plates movements, volcanoes, their types and about earthquakes. In this part we will learn about gradation, agents of gradation and landforms made by rivers, glaciers, wind and waves. The forces of nature act upon the major landforms, continuously modifying them so that the differences in their heights are reduced. The Earth's surface is thus gradually leveled. The leveling of the Earth's surface by natural process is called gradation. Both internal and external forces bring about gradation. The external forces such as running water, moving ice, wind and sea waves are collectively called agents of gradation. Gradation involves both aggradation and degradation. Aggradation, the deposition of material by a river, stream, or current. Degradation means the wearing down of rock by disintegration. Degradation can be of two types, weathering and erosion. Weathering involves the breaking down or dissolving of rocks and minerals on the surface of the earth, while in erosion, earthen materials are worn away and transported by natural forces such as wind or water. Let us now learn about the various landforms produced by the agents of gradation: rivers, glaciers, wind, waves. Rivers are the most important agents of gradation. The valley formed by a river is narrow and shaped like the letter V, hence it is called V-shaped valley. When a river erodes vertically through hard rocks, the valley formed is very deep and narrow. Such a valley is called a gorge, and since it is shaped like the letter I, it is also called an I-shaped valley. A wider, steep, walled and usually flat-bottomed valley is called a canyon. Waterfall formation. Waterfalls typically form in the upper stages of the river. They occur where a band of a hard rock overlays a softer rock. Falling water and rock particles erode the soft rock below the waterfall, creating plunge pool. The soft rock is undercut by erosional processes such as hydraulic action and abrasion, creating a plunge pool where water and debris swirl around, eroding the rock through corrosion, further deepening it and creating an overhang. Hard rock overhang above the plunge pool collapses as its weight is no longer supported. Erosion continues and the waterfall retreats upstream, leaving behind a gorge. In this way waterfall is formed. In the mountainous course, a river passes through a steep slope. Its water, therefore, rushes down with great speed. Under such a condition the water can dig the river bed very deeply and carries or pulls down heavy boulders and pebbles. Erosion and transportation are the main activities of a river in the upper course. As a river leaves the hilly area and enters into a plain, its middle course starts. The slope of the riverbed is less on a plain. Hence, the speed of the current is also less, compared to the upper course. The main activities of a river at its middle course are some amount of erosion and some amount of deposition. The last part of a river near its mouth is called the lower course. In this part the slope of the river bed is not very steep. The current is also very slow. Deposition is the main activity of a river at this stage. The silt and other materials carried by the river are deposited. When a river enters the plain, it flows slowly, forming broad, sweeping curves or loops called meanders. Due to continuous deposition, the meander becomes wider and the ends of the loop come closer. Eventually the meander gets separated from the river, forming a cut-off lake, which is also called an oxbow lake. Sometimes, the river overflows its banks, flooding the surrounding area. Fine silt called alluvium is deposited on the banks of the river, forming a fertile floodplain. As the river moves towards the sea, it becomes very slow and splits into several small channels called distributaries. All the sediments carried by the river and its channels are deposited at the mouths. The triangular-shaped region near the mouth of the river with a network of distributaries is called a delta. The Ganga-Brahmaputra Delta is the biggest delta in the world. Glaciers are slow-moving masses of snow and ice. They are also known as rivers of ice. They are found in the polar snowfields and in the ice-capped mountains. Like river, glaciers also break and carry away rock materials. The valley formed by a glacier has steep sides and a flat bottom. It resembles letter U. Such a valley is called a U-shaped valley. Glaciers also carve out shallow, armchair-shaped basins in the mountains called cirques. When a glacier descends a valley, it melts because of the warmer climate. Its load, consisting of clay, sand, gravel and boulders, cannot be carried any longer and is eventually dropped. These deposits are called moraines. Wind action is most prominent in deserts as there is hardly any vegetation to check the velocity of wind. When strong winds, laden with coarse sand particles, strike the surface of a rock mass, it gets eroded. The base of the rock is eroded more than top. Eventually, the rock resembles a mushroom, with a narrow base and a wide top. Such rocks are called mushroom rocks or rock pedestals. When the velocity of the wind decreases or there is some obstacle in its path, all the material carried by the wind is deposited. As a result of this deposition, sand dune is formed, which is a low hill of sand. Wind carry the fine sand particles far away, much beyond the deserts, and deposit them in humid regions. This deposit is yellowish-gray in color and forms a soil called loess. Extensive loess deposits are found in North China. Sea waves are the most important agents of erosion that modify coastal landforms. In places where the coast is rocky, with a steep slope, an almost vertical wall of rock is formed by the erosive action of sea waves. This is called a sea cliff. Gradually, the cliff is worn away and recedes inland, leaving behind a flat surface called a wave-cut platform. Sometimes, if the rock at the base of a cliff is weak, the action of waves scoops out holes, which become enlarged to form caves. Gradually, caves get bigger and only the roofs remain, forming arches. As erosion continues, the roofs collapse, leaving only the walls, which are called stacks. Stacks get further eroded to form stumps. The eroded materials are deposited by the waves along the coast. These deposits accumulate and form a beach. Hope you understand everything about gradation, agents of gradation and landforms made by rivers, waves, wind and glaciers. Please do like, share and subscribe our channel for such informative videos.